Hello there everyone, and welcome to a new review on the channel. And today we're looking at the last product of my Card Shark haul. This is the last one to arrive, and it is also, in my opinion, I think the best one out of all of them, and that is Pure Telepathy by Boris. This is a great parlor slash stage routine in which you're able to guess any card that the spectator cuts to and shuffles in the deck. It is very, very nice. It is such a good effect, and I can't wait to talk more about it. So let's roll the intro and get straight into Pure Telepathy. Perfect, so you decide to stick around, which means you want to learn more about Pure Telepathy. So what is Pure Telepathy? It's essentially a routine that you do to 1 or 5 spectators, and essentially how it works is they select a card, they shuffle it, and they give you back the cards, and without looking at the faces, just by reading their body language, you're able to determine by feeling which card is the one they selected. I'm not doing it justice by talking about it. I think it's better if I perform it. Again, since I don't have a spectator, you don't really get the nice touch that Boris has of having a spectator hold out this bag like this for you to drop cards inside, which I think it's a very nice visual. So you don't have that, but I'll just give you an idea so you know kind of what the effect is. So you would take a deck, you would show it to your spectators, right? You would show it's a shuffled deck, every card is different, and then you would invite someone to come on stage with you. So you invite, let's say, right there, that person. So they would come on stage, and as they come up, you're just casually shuffling the deck. And then you're going to ask them if they're familiar with the deck of cards. Yes, you'd have this in your hand, and you tell them, perfect. So what I want you to do is I want you to just cut off a portion of the cards. But don't cut just like 2 or 3 cards, because finding your card amongst 2 or 3 is boring. But also don't cut the whole deck, like 50 or so cards, because then it's going to take too long. So just cut somewhere in between all of that. So let's say they cut around here. This goes south, so you don't even look at that. You place it in your pocket without looking. They now look at their cards. You're still turned away. They look at that card. I hope that you can see it. Even while your back is turned, they shuffle everything together. Okay, so your back is still turned. And when they're finished doing all of this, you then turn around and you're ready to go with the rest of the routine. So now you tell them, so there's no way I could know what your card is, but we're going to try and do something. You would now proceed to give them the bag, okay? They would hold on to the bag, and you tell them, keep a very straight poker face for this, because I'm going to show you the cards one by one, and I'm going to try and see if I can get a feeling of when you see your card. So I'm going to go slow, just like this. Look at the cards. Look at me. You're doing great. You're keeping a very good poker face. Keep it up. Okay. I got a small feeling, but I didn't, it was like between 2 or 3. So let's try it a bit differently. Hold the bag open for me. This is what we're going to do. We're going to just take it like this, and you would proceed to take cards from here, and you would drop them inside of the bag. Can you look at me? Keep looking at me. No. No. Not these as well. No, so this would go in the bag. Between these two, no, I got a big feeling on this. This was your card, correct? What was it? The 9 of Hearts, a very beautiful card for a very beautiful person. Thank you so much for helping me. Go back to your seat. So that would be essentially one of the ways that you perform it for one spectator, okay? So that's essentially a performance of Pure Telepathy by Boris. Not my favorite one, because I do like the 5 spectator one, but we're going to talk about that in a moment. So what do you get when you purchase this? Where do you buy it, and how much does it cost as well? So you can buy this at Card Shark. I do believe it is available at some other magic shops, so you can look at that, but I do think it is mainly available through Card Shark. It sets you back $39.99 USD, and you get a few things with your purchase. One, you get a DVD. The DVD is great. It has a ton of routines. It has live performances. It tells you the setups of the routines, everything that you need to know. In there, you get the one spectator variation, which is the one I performed, where the spectator would hold the bag and you dip the cards in the bag until you have only one, which is a great, great effect. I think it would play well. But the 5 spectator one is, it's so fooling. When I would say go ahead on YouTube and watch the full performance. It's on there. It's like 5 or 7 minutes, and it just floored me. I had no idea how it works, and even when I know how it works, I'm like, that's just insane. So the 5 spectator one is essentially, you would invite 5 spectators, you would give a bunch of cards to every spectator, they would shuffle them, look at one, shuffle the cards again, all of them would take their cards back, shuffle them, take the whole deck, they would shuffle the entire deck, you would then remove the bag, give the spectator, separate the deck in 5, and then you would ask every spectator, do you see your card among here, among here, among here, among here? Raise your hand if you did. They're going to raise their hand, and they tell, so you saw your cards. Perfect. Place your hand just like this. You would do the same routine as you do here. You tell them, this was your card, right? Round of applause. You take it again. Now you give the bag to the other spectator as you put the cards in the bag until you're left with one. Was that your card? And you proceed to do that with all the 5 spectators. It is great. It is fooling. And there's so many details in these routines that just play so well. And I think that even if you have an idea of how this works, it is better than what you think it is. It is so well done. But yeah, that's what you get in the DVD. The touches in the DVD are great. You also get, of course, this bag, which is a very nice mesh bag that the spectators are going to dump the card, that you're going to dump the cards into. It's a very, very nice addition because it's see-through, and it's very nice that you can fold it and it doesn't really wrinkle, which is great. And then you also get your deck. So you get your deck of cards, which is gimmicked. It doesn't use any rough and smooth or anything like that. I think some people know kind of the way this works, but it is basically a blend of different things that Card Shark have put out, mixed into one to make it the easiest to use version of this trick. Because I have seen people compare this with other products and say, oh, why would I pay this amount of money for something I can do with that deck or this deck or that deck, right? But this is the most easily, this is the easiest to use, the easiest to see, and the best one that you want to use for stage or parlor because it removes all the scare and you can do it in dimmer lighting. It is great. So you get your deck, which is gimmicked, and then you also get a few extra things with it. So you get some jokers that you need if you want to do the 5-step spectator variation. You get a few cards that you can replace if you want to do the close-up variation. And yeah, that's all you get. And if you want to do the 5 spectator variation, you will need to buy an extra deck of large index red Phoenix back cards for that effect. Okay, so you will need an extra deck for achieving that. So if you buy this, make sure to add an extra large index deck with your purchase to have everything ready to go. So having said that, how easy is this to perform? Let's talk about difficulty. This is super, super easy to perform. The routine that I performed for you, I think that if I go on the street to someone, tell them how this works, in less than 5 minutes, they're going to be able to go and perform it to anyone else. It is that easy to do. It is not difficult. There's no memory work for this single person presentation. 0 memory work. You don't have to remember anything. Also, I think a lot of people expect you that you get maybe a glimpse that when they cut the cards, you maybe glimpse something in your hand. You do not. What I did is what you do in the presentation, the moment they cut the cards, you're turned away, you can take the cards and even give them to someone in the audience or place them in your back pocket or in your pocket. You do not look at anything. You do not have to remember anything, okay? And I really mean that. There's no memory work for the single spectator variation. It is super, super easy. It basically works itself. For the 5 spectator variation, there is a bit of memory work, but it's not something like having to remember 5 cards or having to remember 5 numbers or anything like that. All you have to do is just remember the procedure for the effect, because there's a bit of procedure and a bit of sleight that goes on in the 5 spectator one, but nothing too difficult. It's still pretty easy and pretty self-working and easy to do, but it will, of course, since it's 5 spectators, 5 cards, and everything is shuffled all the time, it does require a bit more, thinking and playing around with methods in order to achieve it. So it is a bit more complicated, and I would even say maybe intermediate level magician for that one, but I do think it's worth the practice to get it to work, because it is one of the most fooling card routines that I've seen for parlor or stage, especially of how easy it is to do and achieve. So yes, it's not very difficult, whether it's for the single or for the 5 people presentation. It is very not difficult. You're going to be able to perform this in like 10 to 12 minutes, maybe even less after you get this. So having said that, what is the practicality? So for this effect, you're going to need your deck of, for the single spectator one, you're going to need your deck of cards, and you're going to need your mesh bag, and that is it, and you're going to be ready to go. For the 5 spectator one, you're going to need your mesh bag, you're going to need your deck of cards, you're going to need a suit, and you're going to need some extra little things, as I mentioned, including an extra deck in order to perform it. So there's a bit more going on. Yes, everything fits on you, and everything, you know, you're not carrying around like a 52-ounce system in your jacket or whatever. It's still super, super compact, but you do have to carry a bit more for the 5 spectator one. In terms of table space, you do not need a table. This is done solely in the hand. That's why he gives you the bag and the way he does it. There's no table required for this. Even if you have a table, it doesn't detract from anything you could use to put things on the table, but you do not need a table for this. Angle-wise, 360, there's nothing to see angle-wise, so, you know, people can be surrounding you. In terms of lighting, because I know this is an issue that people have, because of the way the cards are made, you do not need to have extra super x-ray vision to get a glimpse of what you need. It's really good for low lighting as well. As you saw in the trailer, Boris performs this in low lighting. He doesn't perform this with full lights everywhere. And because of the way this is routined, it's super, super easy to see. And I've even seen people that say that they have bad eyesight, that they were able to do this. And this is probably the only deck that allows them to do these types of routines with confidence. So that's great as well. So you don't need... there's no problems with that. Inspectability, the routine also removes any need for inspectability, right? Because the spectators shuffle the cards at all points, so they won't really want to examine the cards. And even if they want to, by the end of the routine, the cards will all be already in the bag, and you can like zip the bag up, and as you send them back to their seats, you just leave the bag, you drop it onto the table or whatever. No one is going to want to go shove their hand in the bag in the middle of the show to inspect the cards, right? So in my opinion, there's never going to be a need to inspect the cards because of how the routine is made. And even if there is, well, the cards are already in the bag. No one is going to go fish in the bag to inspect them in the middle of your parlor show. So that inspectability wise, you don't have any problems with that. And the last thing is the reset. The reset will take a bit of time. It's not a reset that you can do on the spot just like that. It will have to be something you go out of sight. For the single spectator one, you could maybe use it, you know, if you're doing table hopping between a few tables, you go in your case, you reset it, and you're good to go, right? So you can reset the single person one, but the 5 spectator one cannot be reset instantly. It's going to take you like 2-3 minutes to reset, and it's really a parlor stage piece. So you don't really need to reset it, but just keep that in mind. This does need a bit of a reset every time you perform it. If you want to do the one with the bag, he does give you an alternative variation for the close-up one that is similar to other effects on the market, similar to, I think a lot of people are thinking of it, the Code by Andy Nyman. It's similar to that, and as you know, the Code by Andy Nyman doesn't need to be reset for close-up, so you can use this in the same way that you use the Code for close-up, and you don't need a reset. But if you want to do the one with the bag and the beautiful presentation, that will always need to be reset. So there was a lot of things to say about practicality. So having said that, let's talk about where would you perform. So this is a routine that excels for parlor and stage. This was built for parlor and stage, and he does give you ideas of how to make this close up. But this was never meant to be a close-up trick. It was always meant to be a parlor stage routine, okay? So yes, it excels in those scenarios, but it can be performed close-up as well. And as I mentioned, close-up, you do have the possibility to do it without having to reset it after every single performance. So yes, it can pretty much be performed anywhere, but you do need to keep in mind that in some instances it's going to take longer to reset than others. And the strength of the effect also kind of changes whether it's close up or on stage. So keep that in mind. So having said all of this, what are the positives and negatives of pure telepathy? Let's start as always with the negatives. What are the negatives of pure telepathy? One is that the reset will take a bit of time after every single performance, and you're going to have to make sure it's great. So for those close-up performers out there, this may not be the end all for you. You could look at other tricks that are similar. If you really like kind of this premise and how this works, I would push you to go look at something maybe like The Code, or even Christian card shark Shank tells this, I believe, in one of the forums. He tells you if you'd want to do this only close up and don't want to do it on stage, look at something like the Sum deck that is also pushed through Card Shark. So check that as well. So for you close up performers, if you really want to do the one with the bag, right, and the beautiful presentation, just keep in mind you're going to have to reset it every single time, and you can't be resetting it in front of the spectators. So that will have to play a role in it. So that's pretty much the only negative I have for this. So it's for this close-up table hopping performers, you know, this may not be the best routine for you. However, if you are a stage performer, parlor performer, this is one of the best routine card tricks I have seen. It is super simple. It's direct. There's so many methods at play here. Everything cancels each other out. It's basically, you can't even backtrack the effect because there's so many layers of deception here. It's great. The instructions are great. There's live performances. The deck is nice. You can have refills. So if you use this a lot, there's refills. You get the bag provided to you. You get alternative explanations. It's just such a good effect. You can also play it to 1 or 5 people at the same time. It's great. It's very great. There's so much good about this. This is one of my favorite purchases from Card Shark personally. So having said that, what would I rate out of 10? And would I recommend this? I think that if you're a parlor magician or mentalist, buy this. I think you're going to use this. I think you're going to love performing this. And I think that it's such a layered and beautiful method. You won't go wrong with pure telepathy. I fully recommend it. What would I rate it out of 10? A 9.75 on 10. Near perfect card routine for parlor stage. It is absolutely great. The 5 spectator one just slays. It's in my show and I can't wait to be performing it more and more. It is absolutely great. So that's all I have to say about this. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any other questions, leave them down below. If not, like and subscribe, and I'll see everyone in my next review. Have a great one.